Welcome to Know and Awaken Your Soul's Unlimited Potential. My name is Eva and I'm so happy to have you here with me. And today I'm going to be doing a deep dive into blocks and restrictions as a continuation of the Akashic Series. If you haven't checked out the previous videos yet, I'd advise you to stop right now and go check out the previous videos on my channel under the playlist the Akashic Series, because it's going to really explain everything in detail and give you a perspective of what I'm talking about today. In my previous videos, at the end, I normally do an explanation as to the work I do, which is with soul realignment, and how soul realignment can actually help you remember who you are at soul level and awaken your soul gifts and help you tap into your infinite potential as a soul. And always at the end of these videos, I normally say that one of the things that you will get in a soul realignment reading is to identify the particular blocks and restrictions in your blueprint that are currently preventing you from living or creating the kind of human experience that you might desire for yourself. So I'm also going to be explaining that at the end of the video, how I can actually help you tap into that. So make sure you tune in until the end of the video to discover how soul realignment work can help you really awaken your soul's potential. Okay, so let's get started. Blocks and restrictions, how they're created. So in the previous videos, I've explained how when we start making choices, and by choices I mean when we start taking action, okay, so it's not a choice decision like a mind level thing, it's a choice where you take action. So when you start taking action that goes against who you are at soul level, that goes against who you were designed to be as a soul, we create blocks for ourselves in our blueprint. Okay, when we constantly give our free will away, give our power away to other people, or let other people influence the decisions or the actions that we make on a day-to-day basis, that creates blocks and restrictions in our own blueprint. Remember, we are created to be our own divine creators, right? There's no one who's supposed to be in charge of us. We're supposed to be our own authority. So the minute we start giving our power away to other people, that's how we actually start creating so many problems for ourselves. And here's how I look at it, right? We've lived so many lifetimes before, and whether you believe in that or not, that's okay. So I'm not judging you right now, but just hear me out, okay? So when you look at the olden days and the kind of experiences that we were exposed to in the olden days, we didn't really have a lot of choices available for us. Okay, if your family decided that you were gonna marry a certain person, that was it. You didn't have the liberty or the choice to say no, I don't want to marry that, because not doing that would have made you get disowned and get you kicked out of the house, kicked out of your community, kicked out of your village, and have a new funding for yourself on the outside. And that was so scary for so many people, because some in olden days, like so many people, people were not even aware that there were other communities or other countries available to us. So if you get kicked out of here, maybe you could travel to Australia or Europe or something and maybe start creating your life. We didn't have that awareness back then. So getting kicked out of your particular tribe, getting kicked out of your family actually signified death. So most of the people in the olden days used to live on survival mode. Okay, you had to do anything to survive. And by surviving, of course, that meant that regardless of whether your heart or your soul was not into a particular decision, you had to go along with it, because going against it meant that you might actually end up dying. And no one of course will ever make a decision that might actually lead to their death, right? Okay, so that's one. No many choices were available to us. We didn't have awareness that there was an entire world that existed outside of the current community and the current family that we were exposed to. The other thing is that our choices were so limited because we gave so much authority to people outside of us. If a certain king said something, that was the rule, that was the end of it. Like, no one could go against that, and that was it. The word of the king, the word of the queen, the word of your father, the word of whoever it was, the word of the priest, was the beat and it all. So if they said we have to go this direction, everyone just followed suit, because we got so comfortable with giving our external authority, our own authority to external people, right? That's how basically society used to operate before. So based on that, So many people currently in existence right now have created so many blocks and restrictions. Blocks and restriction is basically, I'd explain it like the karma that we experience, the kind of situations and the kind of people that we keep on attracting into our life over and over again. Basically, it's based on those particular blocks and restrictions that we've created based on our actions in the past. Okay, so remember, fine, I do get it that maybe we weren't in control back then and we didn't have so much awareness and we hadn't really evolved so much as human beings back then. But still, as an energetic consequences to all those choices did get imprinted on our soul blueprint. And what does that mean? How does that look like for you in your life right now? It means that when you choose to have this current experience right now, one thing you need to realize is that you didn't just happen to be born into a certain country, to be born into a certain family, to be born into a certain situation by chance. Okay, you had to be born to a situation that was a vibrational match to who you are at soul level. So nothing happened by chance. Your soul actually chose that, first of all, based on the previous choices that you made that created a certain vibration in your soul blueprint. And number two, to also kind of like resolve all the past karmic influences that you've created for yourself. Because here's the thing, any karma that we create for ourselves, we have to resolve any negative karma, we have to resolve it in the place that we created, in a likeness, a like environment, or a 3D environment that is a vibrational match to that particular situation. So if you made so many choices in your previous lifetime in this on this earth, you're gonna have to keep on reincarnating and reincarnating over and over again until you're able to resolve these choices or these decisions that you made in the past, until you start making different choices. But what happens, because most people don't have the level of awareness to figure out that, to actually sit down and analyze, why was I born into this situation? Why have I attracted this particular partner? Why did I attract this particular parent into my existence? What lesson was I here to learn with this particular person? They keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Like so many, very few people actually pause to reflect on the life lessons that they've actually learned along the way. So they keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over again, which is basically how we've lived our lives for most of our past incarnations. But I love this present age that we're in, because this present age has opened up so many possibilities to us. I mean, come on, the information that's available to us right now, it's things that we'll never have dreamt of in the past. So in the past, if you got kicked out, that meant the end of your life, because you couldn't survive in the wilderness. But right now, even if you get rejection from your parents or from your loved one, if you get divorced, for example, it doesn't signify that's the end of you, that's the end of your existence. There are so many opportunities available. You can remarry over and over again if you so choose it. Your children will always have a father if or a mother if you choose to remarry or something. So it's not like once they lost a mother or a father, that was the end of it. No. Your family could reject you right now, and you could end up finding a family, an even stronger connection to people who are not blood related to you. And that has happened over and over again, and it's only available because we've evolved so much as human beings. So it's not the same kind of circumstances that we had in the past. And right now, with the level of information that's available, also on a spiritual level, we've also evolved in that way, in the fact that you can actually get access to your past life. I mean, if you've heard of past life regression, right? People who put you in kind of like a hypnosis and get you to regress back to a past life and a particular experience that you had in the past that might be affecting you right now. It's the same thing I also do with soul realignment talk, whereby you get to discover your particular soul story. And by your particular soul story, I don't mean telling you your entire history of, you got born on this day and you did this in this lifetime. No. With your soul story, you get to identify the particular lifetime that you started making, the particular negative choices that are currently affecting you right now. Because if I'm able to determine that to a soul realignment reading by accessing your Akashic records and identify a particular block and restriction, it doesn't mean that because the block is there, you're not experiencing that. Like, it doesn't work like that. If I'm seeing it in your Akashic record, it means that that particular problem, you're still facing it currently, and you need to make different choices in order to resolve that. Okay, so back to what I was saying before, so many choices have been made available to us in this current lifetime. Okay, and it's kind of like put people on this, I want to say, analysis paralysis, where like there's so many choices available, there's so many paths available to us, to the point that some people, because this is so uncomfortable for their ego or whatever, they choose to just stay stagnant. They're like, I'm just gonna go back to what my soul has been doing all along. You know, all the mistakes I've been making in the past, giving someone else external authority or authority over my life, because that feels familiar, that feels comfortable for me. If I'm taking responsibility for my own life and for my own actions, that's scary for most people. Most people would rather live in the world of ignorance, but ignorance really doesn't serve you. Here's the thing, if you want to create different results in your life, you have to start doing things differently. And the only way to do things differently is by, first of all, getting aware of the mistakes that you've been making in the past. And once you have that awareness, now going forward, you don't get to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. And this is the information that's available to us right now. You can actually access that particular lifetime. You started making those negative choices for yourself, and you'll discover what circumstances led you to make certain decisions that you're currently repeating now. And then right now, the other thing is that if you're given a particular soul story, you might find that the circumstances back then might not be the same circumstances you're facing right now. And what I mean by that, like probably in a previous lifetime, you made a decision to join a monastery and maybe become a nun or a priest, and decided to make your vows, which are currently affecting you right now. And maybe in this current lifetime, you're not even, maybe you don't even go to church. Okay, so the same, it's not particularly the same situation that you encounter, but it has the same energetic element, because energy is what talks. Okay, so in the previous lifetime, if you made certain decision that had an element of worry or fear or trauma attached to that, you're gonna find that in your current lifetime you'll be attracting the same kind of situation that bring about this energy quality back in your life. So if the previous, in that particular lifetime, you made a decision because it had an element of trauma attached to it, you'll find in this current lifetime you've been attracting so much trauma to your experience. And most people will be beating their head, like trying to wonder, like, why am I getting punished for this? Why is this happening to me? Why am I the one to suffer? Again, falling into the victim kind of mindset, the blame game, where I don't want to take responsibility. I want to say like I'm being punished again by an external authority, which is not the case. We've just been conditioned to believe that in our previous lifetime, but it doesn't have to be the same for you, because here's the thing, you have a choice. Okay, so if you learned to do something in the past that's maybe not aligned to who you are right now, you can unlearn it and create something new for yourself. And most people don't know that. They believe that they're gonna continue, that they're meant to continue suffering, or they're meant to continue experiencing certain situations over and over again, because someone outside of themselves is punishing them for a mistake that they made. And some people don't even know what mistake they made. Okay, so they're stuck in this loop of so many negative situations happening in their life, and them questioning and them praying for a miracle to happen, not realizing that they're the ones who are in control of their life and their circumstances. So the same way that they created these particular circumstances, they can actually uncreate them by making different choices. And this is what I'm saying to you today. You are in power, you are in control. No one outside of you is coming to save you. No one outside of you is responsible for the circumstances that you've attracted in your life. Only you are responsible. And I know how scary and how hard it is to hear this, especially if you've faced certain difficult situations. And I do get that there's some situations that are quite literally inexplainable, because there is true evil in this world. So I'll have to say, based on that, like, certain circumstances I'm not gonna dive into right now, but what I want you to look at is, if certain situations, if you've been going through so much pain in your life, guess what? That doesn't have to explain, or that doesn't have to be experienced for the rest of your lifetime, unless you so choose it to be. Like, if you choose to continue staying in the suffering, if you continue to choose staying in ignorance and all that, you're gonna be stuck in that situation forever. But if you so choose right now, you can change those circumstances going forward and create something new and better for yourself. You don't have to be stuck in the suffering kind of element for the rest of your life, which is where most people are, because that's what the world has conditioned us to believe, that, the world is full of suffering. Everyone suffers through life. But that's not the case. We can't say that it's everyone who's going through pain, who's going through suffering, because there are some individuals out there who don't even know what suffering is. They've learned to tap into the power of their mind, the power of their spirit, to create better experiences for themselves. Okay, and the only way that they did that is by acknowledging, first of all, the mistakes that, yes, they made in the past. They started taking different actions, and they started creating something new for themselves. Started attracting different circumstances because they changed who they were on the inside. They changed who they were vibrationally, and you only attract things which are a vibrational match to you. That's been the law, the rule, like, of the universe and how it operates. You can't attract something that's not a vibrational match to. It has to match your vibration. Okay, so just to end this video again, just to really emphasize on this, you are in control of your life. Okay, no one outside of you can control anything that you do. So this, if you've been telling yourself stories that I do not have the power maybe to walk away from a certain situation because of this and this and this and this, and there are always so many reasons you can come up with to stay stuck in very toxic and negative situations, realize that you actually have the power to say no, and give yourself permission to say that. Here's the thing. Either way, any decision you make, any action that you take going forward, you're going to have to experience the consequence for that. You can't avoid the consequences. So if you choose to stay in a certain situation that no longer serves you, realize that there is a consequence to that. And you have to ask yourself, am I willing to experience the consequences of this particular situation? Because you're going to face them. If not in this lifetime, maybe in the lifetime after this. So if you want to stop attracting the same situations and the same circumstances, you gotta start doing something differently. And the thing I tell you is that giving your power away to an external authority, letting someone else have control over what you do and what you think and what you say in the world, also does not serve you. Here's what I've come to realize through my years of developing myself and really working on myself spiritually. It's that even when someone else is giving me advice, and it could be really good advice, really good advice, at the end of the day, this person is not going to experience the consequences the way that I'm going to experience them, right? They're going to give you the advice to the best of their ability and continue on living their life, right? But then they're going to leave you, and if you choose maybe to follow their advice and something wrong happens based on that, maybe it's something that you knew was not right for you, but because an external authority made that decision for you, you just went along with it. But guess what? They're not going to be there with you when you experience the negative consequences of that. Like, for example, if you decide right now maybe to get married to someone because maybe your family or your friends are pressuring you to marry a certain person because maybe of their financial status, maybe they're standing in community or whatever, because it looks good to be with this person, and then you marry this person knowing that very well maybe you really don't love them and maybe there's no real connection between you two, but you choose to go ahead with this particular relationship and get married to them, and then it turns out later on that this person was actually not a good person. It's a person who disrespects you. It's a person who mistreats you. It's a person who just literally dehumanizes you on a daily basis. Are your friends, are your parents going to be there experiencing that pain with you? No. they're gonna be comfortably sleeping in their beds, living their life the best way they will know how. And you're the one who's gonna have to wake up every day and face the consequences of your particular action. So my advice to you today is take responsibility for your own life. Okay? Don't give your power away to other people. Don't let other people determine how you're supposed to live your life. Only you are in charge of it. Only you have to pay for the consequences later on. No one else. No one else is coming to do that for you. You'll have to pay for it eventually. Okay? So if you don't want to experience the negative karma based on your current choices, you gotta own your choices, you gotta own your decisions. Okay, so I'm gonna end this video right now. I hope this resonates with you. Let me know down below if anything I said resonated with you. Let me know if you're currently facing any kind of situation like that and what you're actually doing to get away from that. You could actually teach someone out here to walk away from someone or something that really doesn't serve them. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, I always end my video by explaining to you how I can actually help you uncover the particular blocks and restrictions that you've created for your particular soul blueprint. So remember, we've made so many mistakes in the past lives, right? And same mistakes that we made in the past life, we have to come and resolve them in this current lifetime. And right now, it's amazing that you get access to now like soul realignment talk, which actually empowers you with the knowledge of what those choices were in the past and how you can make better choices going forward based on who you are at soul level. So first of all, let me explain to you what a soul realignment reading is and what exactly you'd expect if you ever booked a reading with me. Okay, so number one, you get to uncover who you are at soul level. Okay, so we were all created by source, or God, whatever resonates with you, and he did give us certain soul level gifts that we all have access to. It's only that we've forgotten who we are based on, again, all these choices, negative choices that we've made in the past, to the point that it actually blocked our connection to this particular soul gift. So you'll get to discover, first of all, who you were created to be, who your soul really is, before all this negativity, negative karma started occurring in your life. Who were you at soul level? Number two, you get to discover the dysfunctional aspect of a particular soul, because each soul does have a dysfunctional aspect. Okay, so there's always a positive and a negative side to each soul. So you'll get to uncover what particular circumstances start creating blocks and restriction for your particular soul blueprint. Remember, we all created differently, and what's negative to me may not be negative to you, but what's negative to you might be negative for someone else. Like it's weird, like we're created differently, so we don't assume that just because I'm viewing my mother or my sister or whatever doing certain things that I'm supposed to tap into that necessarily. No, because we're created differently, and what works best for them is not what works best for you, especially if you're different on a soul level. You could find that the people around you are gifted in different particular energy centers, which you do not have. So if you start making choices based on seeing the success that they've created in their own life because they're following their own path, that actually starts creating blocks and restrictions for you. So again, you get to discover the dysfunctional aspect of your soul, so that it's kind of like a warning sign to tell you, like, if you're attracting this particular kind of situation to you, you're actually creating blocks for yourself. Okay, so dysfunctional aspect of your particular soul group. Number three, you discover where your soul is originally from, because here's the thing, not all souls which are currently here incarnated first on earth. Some of us incarnated in other in other star systems before choosing to continue our incarnation on this current earth. So you get to discover your particular soul group and the particular characteristics of that soul group, and the kind of gifts you can tap into that particular soul group that you can leverage to create more of what you want in this current lifetime. You get to discover where you currently are vibrationally. We always say that if you want to manifest, you gotta raise your vibration, and that is true. Okay, so with the soul realignment reading, you can actually get to measure where you're currently vibrationally. And what I mean by that, You'll first of all get specific measurements, but what the measurements tell you is where you're currently getting your divine guidance from. Okay, so are you still in the 4D level, or are you in the fifth dimension, or for some people sixth or seventh or whatever? You get to determine where your guidance is coming from, because and basically where your higher self is situated vibrationally in your particular soul. Okay, the other thing you'll get to uncover with the soul elementary reading now is the blocks and restriction, which is what I was talking about in this particular video, where you get to uncover your particular soul story, the particular lifetime where you started making the negative choices that you're currently experiencing in your life right now. And the beauty in this is that it's kind of like a shortcut to your karma. That's how I look at it, right? That you've made so many mistakes. Like look at this way, right? Maybe you've lived 10 lifetimes for 10 or 20 lifetimes, and in each lifetime you'll be making the same. Maybe you started making a mistake in your fifth lifetime, right? So from the fifth all the way to the 20th, which is probably your 20th is your current incarnation, you've been making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over and over, and you're still trying to resolve them in this current lifetime. Okay, so you've made so many mistakes, right? With soul element talk, you get to identify what circumstances in this particular lifetime, which is now for you will be the fifth lifetime, what circumstances led to you to make these particular choices that you're currently facing right now. So that's one. Okay, so you get to identify, so that now with the awareness that you have, you're not gonna make the same mistake. Okay, so if you made certain choices because like your hands were forced back then, chances are you're not being forced to do that right now. So you can actually do something different and create something new for yourself. So you get to have awareness, and I cannot stress how powerful that awareness is. And also with the awareness, which is now the last thing that you get with the soul alignment reading, you get to clear all these blocks and restrictions from your soul blueprint and actually return it to who you were originally before all of these mistakes happened. And of course, clearing these things energetically on a physical level, it means that now you start attracting different situations and different people to you. I'm not saying that happens by magic, okay? Because of course, on a 3D level, things take much longer to change in your physical circumstances compared to an energetic level. So energetically, for real, your blueprint will be clear from all these blocks and restrictions. So you'll have restored your soul blueprint back to its original form. But now physically, to assist in that healing and to really integrate that energy into your current physical circumstances, again, you have to start making different choices, taking different actions going forward. Because again, if you go back to doing what you've been doing all along, you're just going to create the same blocks and restrictions for yourself. And of course, you do not want that. But now with the awareness of who you were designed to be, what the dysfunctional aspect of your soul is, and also have awareness of what particular mistakes you made in the past, you don't get to repeat the same mistakes going forward. So you are actually in power and in control of your own life. So I hope you resonate with this. If you do, and you will love to get a soul element reading from me, do connect with me down below. I share my Facebook and my Instagram handles in the description box. Or if you're ready to actually say yes to your healing and say yes to clearing everything that's been holding you back, you can book a soul alignment reading with me down below. I've left the links in the description box, and I do hope to see you on the other side. For now, I'm sending you so much love. And as always, if you're new to my channel and you do like the kind of content I do share out here, do make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and also click on the notification bell that's next to the subscribe button so that you might be getting alerts for every time I share out a post. So now, sending you so much love. Bye, and see you on the next video.